welcome to a series of tutorials that are being put together by eHost website. These are plugins that have been placed on your back end of your website when you log into your account. So the one we're talking about today is the Contact Form 7. You'll find this in your menu on the left. Click on Contact, and here we are. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to add new. Once you add new, let's come up with a title. In this case, we'll call it Sample. And then we're going to go ahead and generate what we want our contact form to have. Now, in this form, because it's a tutorial, we're going to cover a lot of different things just to make sure that you understand how they all work. First thing we'll do is we're going to get rid of all this. Even though it's fine just the way it is, we're going to create our own custom form. Okay, this box here is the form itself. So, first thing to start off is required equals asterisk. So that way anything I put an asterisk next to, the customer is going to know that that is required. That field is not going to, if it's not filled out, it's not going to allow them to send it to us. So let's start off with the text field asking their name, and we're going to click the required button and we'll put in name. Okay, now you have a couple of options here. Size actually has to do with the size of the box. So if you leave it blank, it's full size. In this case, we'll leave it blank so you can see what it's like. Maximum length has to do with the number of characters that you're going to allow them to fill out. And again, we'll leave it blank. We don't know how long their name is. And then we can go down here and copy this. If you highlight it, copy, paste. Now that is just the field. That is not the information about the field. So before that, we will type in name, space, and the field. So you'll see that it's all in one line. And we're going to do a few different things. It's going to look a little funky when you see it, but so you can see the differences. Next, we're going to ask their address. Okay, and we'll go in and we'll generate a new text field, and we'll leave it required address. But this time, we're going to make it smaller. We're going to say we want that to be no more than 15 characters long. Okay, that's the size of the box. That doesn't have anything to do with the number of characters they can put in, the size of the box. So we'll copy that and paste it. This time underneath. By the way, we need to put our asterisks next to it so they can see that these are required fields. If we don't, it'll still be required. They just won't know it. Okay, now we're going to create another text field. No, we'll do email address. So, we require their email address, and you can call that just email. You can call it whatever you want. It just has to be unique in each field. Okay, and this time we're going to allow, now of course you don't want to do this on an email address, generally speaking. In fact, we won't. But we'll leave it required. So we'll copy that and paste that right, email star, and underneath. And I like usually to do them underneath, but that's just, like I said, we did that so you can see the difference. Okay, now let's go ahead and do a drop-down menu. So we're going to give them some choices here. We'll call it color. Okay, and red, blue, yellow, and you can have as many as these as you want, and you can allow them to make multiple selections. You can insert a blank line in the beginning so they don't default with red. They have to actually make a selection then. So we'll do that. Highlight, copy, and your color. Paste. Okay, and if you've noticed down here, you'll see that something pops up every time. It's just the title, the name that we've given it. Okay, and I'll explain that in a moment. That's actually what is going to come to you as the website owner. Okay, so let's get past that. Now let's get into one where we have a limited length. So let's go back to text field. Okay, we want another state. Okay, so STATE. But in this case, we want to only make it the size of 2 characters. So California as an example, CA, and we only want to allow them to put in 2 characters. So we do that. Okay, so it's 2 and 2, and we'll go in here and STATE state. And again, you can do this with any size anything like that. And next, we're going to allow them to actually write something. Question as an example. It's a text area. Okay. So now we're going to type in question. And again, you can limit the size of columns or the number of rows, all kinds of good stuff. But we'll just go with a basic question for now. So leave that in there. And let's see, what else do we have here? Of course, acceptance. You got acceptance here. So we click on acceptance. We'll just call it acceptance. This will mean that they have to, and we have a choice, make this checkbox by default or make this checkbox work inversely, which means that the visitor who accepts them unchecks the list. But we want to make them checked by default. Okay, so we'll do that and put that there, and we'll just type in agree. And of course, you would agree to our terms and conditions, because if not, then we will not service or whatever. You can put whatever you want there. I'm just being silly. So we'll do that, and actually, let's put agree after the acceptance. So it's kind of part of that. Okay, so we got that there. Now let's see, what else do we have here? Quiz. Okay. Now this is a little bit different. This is kind of like a way to keep spammers from using it. And you can do, and we'll only do a couple of choices. 1 plus 1 equals question mark line 2. So that's our first quiz. And you go in and you come up with, a few of them. 2, 3, blue plus red equals question mark line that may not be right, but you'll get the idea. So that's our questions. So we'll take that, copy that, and we'll just put that right there. And of course we need to be able to submit it. So we have a submit button. Pretty simple. And we can do a label. SUMIT. Okay. Highlight that. Right click, copy. And let's add one more thing to this too. Let's go into and add a file attachment. File upload. So they can send you a file. And we can limit the size and all kinds of stuff, but you just basically copy this, and you can call this whatever you want. Let's call it image. Okay, file image. That actually goes right here, or wherever you want to put it. Okay, and we'll call it show us your photo. Whatever. Again, it's up to you. Then, now you'll see all these ones down here. Basically what that is, that's the code that has to do with all these ones. You take out the word text and the asterisk, or email and the asterisk, or select and include, and just the actual name that you gave each one of these. Okay, and that goes in the email that you are receiving. So where do you want the email to go? Well, you want it to come to you, and you want to have it from the name that they put in, George, and their email address. Okay, and what do you want the subject to say? Well, we want it to say new question from bracket name bracket. So it'll actually put their name in there. New question from George. Okay, and then here's our message body. Okay, and that's where we're going to grab all these different things here and just copy it. Okay, we're going to make it real simple. And we're just going to paste it right here, but we have to do a little bit of work. Just trying to make things easier. So name, we want another name. Take out the word text and the star, so it's just the name. You don't have to have that stuff in there. You can just leave it blank, so we'll take that out actually, so you can see. Address. Take out everything after that. It's just the name, like I said. Email. Color. Oops. Paste that. Color. Remember, it's only the name that you gave that field. That's all that you're saving. Um, and any identifying information that you might want to put, like here is their question. It's up to you. That way you'll know what that is down there when it comes. Acceptance, you can leave that, and I believe it's just the word acceptance. And then of course their image, that's under file attachments. Okay. I'm going to take that out of there, and add that into file attachments. Okay. Now, one last option. You have mail too. This is where you can send them an email back automatically. And what you do is you can have it come from their email address, your email address, but you're going to have it fill in their email address because that's where it's going. From, that can be, Kyle at eHost website. Okay. Subject, this is the email going to them. So, your question. Or you can even add in their name, name, your question. Yeah, whatever you want to do. So you can personalize it. Then let's get into our message body. Now here, if you want to add stuff in, you can do that. But I'm just going to copy this for the moment so we can make it a little bit easier. Paste and move that down a little bit so we can write in here, dear name, thanks for the order. Your color, we'll insert color, shirt will be sent to address in state right away. Whatever, you can have whatever you want in there. And you can even attach that file too, so we'll copy that real quick, and so they can see a copy of their attachment. And you can change this whatever you want. Here it says the message, we'll call it order, was sent successfully. Okay, so now let's save that. It's going to generate a code. That's our code. We're going to copy that and go to our page. In this case, we're just going to use plugins for WordPress. You paste that right in the text area, just like that. Click update or create, depending on if it's a new page or not. And let's go to our page and refresh. There's our form. Now see how this one is named, it's on the same line, and everything else is underneath. This is shorter, this is shorter. There's our question, there's our quiz, and if we refresh it, that quiz should change every time. Let's try refreshing it here, see if it does. No, okay, it usually changes, but maybe because I haven't answered the question. So let's go ahead and fill this in. Kyle Brown, 531 H Street. Email, Bridal Association. Choose my color. Let's go with blue. Now here's interesting. Remember I told you it was now this one here is limited in size, but not in the content. I could keep adding and adding and adding. It doesn't matter, but it's limited in the size of the actual field. This one is limited. See, I can't push anything else. I can type, but nothing else will come in. 2 characters only, because that's what I told it. 2 characters and 2 characters in size. When will I get my stuff? Anyway, so there's our thing. Show us your photo. We'll grab a photo here. Let's grab that one. Bakersfield Wedding DJ. I don't. Anyways, answer our question. 3. Submit. And it should tell us, Yep, your order was sent successfully. So that's what your customer sees. Now you go check your email, and there it is right there. Kyle Brown, your question. So this went to the customer. Okay. Dear Kyle Brown, thanks for your order. I messed up. So somehow capital C. Sure, it will be sent to 531 H Street, Bakersfield, California, and my state must be wrong. So it's always good to send yourself an email. You can see here's a new question. Okay, and let's see, blue, and so that actually showed up correct there. And so let's go back and see what we messed up. Very simple. So we have color, state, and actually state was ST, I believe, wasn't it? Nope, STATE, STATE. Color, color. The nice thing is you can go in and edit this without having to edit everything else. STATE, color. So sometimes it's just something small. And okay, anyway, so we've fixed that, and we fixed state, and let's go ahead and save. Once you save it, you don't have to do anything to the actual page itself. Maybe refresh it so that it, resets. But see how it asks blue and red now? So let's go ahead and fill it out again. Just pick some random stuff. 531H, email. Of course, we can't pick random on that. Yellow, California. Question, I'm going to leave that blank. Agree. Browse. Bridal tips. 1 plus 1 is 2. Submit. Order was sent successfully. So let's go and see what our emails look like. Refresh our email. New question from Wedding Professionals. Wedding Professionals, 531 8th Street, Bakersfield, Yellow, California. Here's their question, and shows that I accepted. Okay, so let's go back and see what. Yeah, Wedding Professionals, your question. Dear Wedding Professional, thanks for your order. Your yellow shirt will be sent to 531 8th Street in California right away. And then there's that image that we sent. So that kind of gives you an idea of how to use the form, and you can create as many contact forms as you like. I have one account that probably has 20, so you might have one for billing, one for contacting you, one for placing an order, one for buying tickets. But the point is you can create as many as you want. I hope this was helpful. Keep an eye on the site for more videos on how to use the plugins that we are providing you for your website. Thank you.